All right. Welcome to another episode of the Barrels and Bylaws podcast. I am your co-host, Matthew Bulowitz, joined alongside Rocco Koza, and we have a great guest today, Chaz Jannuzi. How you doing, Chaz?
Hey, I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me. Rocco, thanks for inviting me on the show.
Yes, this is going to be a great topic. One, because it's phenomenal, the mission behind your company, but we'll get to that in a second. Just by way of introduction, Chaz Jannuzi, he is a husband and a father. I do notice in your other podcasts, you always start out with that. I love that. So I'm going to get out in front of it. Husband and a father. You guys probably know Chaz. He is a Hollywood star. He is the coach of what's the name of
Blackhawk Little Cougars.
That's right. So if you check all your streaming platforms, back in 2016, none other than Chaz Jannuzi was the coach of the Friday Night Tykes, which went all the way to the championship game. We're not going to comment on whether or not they got cheated out of that victory. But, yeah, that was a very fun and exciting tidbit that I did not know about you.
Yeah, internet famous for a little bit. It was a lot of fun, and turns out that TikTok is recently starting to pick up some of the clips and revisiting it 10 years later. So kind of cool.
Internet famous again, man.
So just a phenomenal story, and that just very fun. I was looking all of those clips up today, so that was a lot of fun. But what we're here today for is Chaz is the co-founder of Match One Medical as well as M1 Labs. So we'll dive into that today. But how we start every podcast, we need more entrepreneurs in this world. Chaz is one of them. We believe that this entire world is built on the backs of entrepreneurs. So it's important to get their stories, their origin stories, as well as some of the oh shit moments along the way. So that's what we're here to tackle. So again, thank you for joining us. Before we begin, though, we've been pampered today with a lot of specialty bourbon that Chaz brought today. So can you share, there's some great stories before we started today. You shared some great stories. Can you tell us a little about what we're drinking tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So Peerless whiskey, Peerless bourbon, and Peerless rye. Peerless is a distillery in downtown Louisville. They are probably considered a mom and pop, run by the same family for 100 plus years. They're a very unique seller of craft bourbon at this point. Their story, though, is really wild. So licenses to distribute and or make bourbon is just like a license for anything. Whenever they started, they gave somebody number one. I would say they're probably in the thousands of licenses at this point. Peerless is DK-wide number 50. A lot of distilleries during Prohibition got closed down and lost their license and had to reapply after the fact. So Peerless, how they didn't get closed down during Prohibition, one of the family members of the owner was friends with or went to school with one of a person with the last name of Walgreens. And we know Walgreens today as a billion-dollar pharmacy company. Why that's unique, somehow during Prohibition, somebody from the Walgreens sphere of influence got Peerless whiskey labeled as medicinal. And so while everybody else was dumping their whiskey out in the Ohio River, they were shipping their barrels up to Chicago to be distributed nationwide through pharmacy and prescription services by doctors. So interesting yes. Enough, right?
Good medicine, man. Good medicine.
Our company, and we'll get into it, the history of pain management and opioids. This is probably a grandfather or a predicate product of some of that.
That's exactly
today.
What it is.
But anyway, so during Prohibition, they stayed open, kept the wheels of business turning. Fast forward a generation, they're again a family business, and the son who was going to be taking over the business went into military service, as most men did at that point, and ended up becoming General Patton's right-hand man. So whatever military in the Army you would be if you were the general's top assistant. So the movie Patton, where he's up on the Jeep giving the speech, there is a character that is that guy who's then becomes the CEO of Peerless Whiskey after World War II. So it's a really cool story. And apparently General Patton gave his World War II sidearm, Colt 45, to the Peerless family or the Taylor family, and it still is in their possession. So
that's phenomenal.
Apparently there's some sort of a push from like the National Historical Archives to get that gun over to a museum versus in somebody's private collection.
Yeah.
But they'll have to fight that fight. Coincidentally, the bourbon, the Toasted Barrel bourbon, I happened to be in Louisville last year, the day that they got the award for North American Bourbon of the Year. They scored a 98% on the IWPC award, the only United States bourbon to win that award. So I thought it was appropriate to bring it as a gift for you guys with the theme, Barrels and Bylaws, something with a little bit of a unique story and a small business. And that's what we're here to talk about.
That's phenomenal. And it does not hurt that it actually, I mean, it's delicious.
It is very good. Very good.
Peerless, shout out to you. We're here. Sponsorships are available. Anyways, getting back, I mean, you alluded to it. Before we get into your origin story, getting into all of those moments when you have been an entrepreneur, give a description and talk about the business itself. I want to make sure baseline, we talk about it. You brought up opioid. I know in the industry, you had the nickname prior to right around 2016, kind of the opioid guys. I heard you on a couple other podcasts being the opioid guys. Talk about what does Match One get involved with? Yeah,
thank you. So the mission for Match One Medical is providing medical equipment, medical devices, and at this point, minimally invasive spine procedures to help eliminate the need for or limit the need for the use of opioids. As we started the company in 2014, at that point, we were 18 years removed from the beginning of OxyContin becoming commercially available for things other than the original stated intent, which was hospice care. And so in 1996, OxyContin became readily available. They've made many movies and documentaries about it over the last 5 or so years with the run up to that. But in that time frame, I worked in a job in which I served pain management doctors, and we saw the shift from the OxyContin. Once that started to get a black eye, the next shift was into a drug called Opana. Opana's shtick was you can't crush it and snort it, so there's no street value. Well, they found out real quick that you put it on a spoon and you put a lighter under it, you could melt it and then crush it. So the egg was on their face real fast. They didn't call it the opioid epidemic at that time. It was during the presidential election of 2016, President Trump versus Hillary Clinton. They were both, during their debates, talking about they were going to be the solution for the opioid crisis, the opioid epidemic. But in any event, in 2014, my business partner, Joe, and I, we both had very, very close, very dear friends. They both lost their lifelong battle with addiction within a week of each other. My friend in Pittsburgh, his friend in Detroit, and both of them suffered with addiction over most of their adult life. And both of us at the time, we're parents, so Match One Medical, the word means something very special to us. It's what are we going to call this business? We had a lot of catchy opioid-related names, but ultimately it's our kids' names, right? So all the letters are our kids: Madison, Abby, Tyler, Jackson, so the T and the J are swooped, Charlie, Henry, Olivia, Natalie, Estelle. So anyways, the Match One, the name means something very deep. Anything. So as parents, losing great friends, we thought maybe there's something that we can do about it in our little community, my community in Pittsburgh, his community in Detroit. Let's try to find some equipment to give to these doctors that are looking for something different that would help treat pain at the source. If you take a pill, it treats your ear the same as your knee, the same as your ankle, right? It's treating you systemically. And at that point in pain management, as the drum of society was ramping up, pill mills were people were getting arrested. Good doctors were looking for something else. And as the medical guidelines shifted and changed to reduce the allowable requirements for opioid therapy for people on chronic pain, there became a pain vacuum, and it took our little idea in 2014 into something spectacular. Here we are 11 years later, between 2 companies and 3 divisions and about 40 employees. It's really turned into something that we never really planned for.
I think that's where a lot of people get confused, is because the tolerance level for opioids that are prescribed continues to rise. And when those regulations came in and then curtailed that, to your point of that vacuum, it's not like you can just flip a switch and then no one is now reliant on those. So that's, to your point, that's where the big jump of growth came in that moment of those regulations came in, 2016, platforms were everywhere talking about that. Is that where you saw the big spike?
Yeah, that's when it really turned from side hustle to, hey, we have something here. We were receiving inbound calls from medical clinics that typically the life of a medical salesperson is very outward. We were getting inbound calls, and both of us needed to make a pivot to be able to focus on Match One Medical versus what it was that we were doing. So my path to entrepreneurship, as a kid growing up, I'm 6 years old and I'm painting rocks and trying to sell them to my aunts and uncles, right?
Yes.
So it was in my DNA.
Yeah.
But I never looked at the medical space as an area for an entrepreneur. I didn't.
Why not? Why do you think that was the case?
Well, publicly traded billion-dollar companies coming out and inventing medical equipment and medical devices. It took me a while to realize that there are, for every one publicly traded company, there's a startup with some scientist or engineer who has an idea and they're great at it. They get venture capital to build it, to run it through testing, and then it's time to go to market. And their left side brain, how do I sell this thing and who do I sell it to? And we don't have another $50 million to hire a sales force. Oh my God, what are we going to do? There's an entire niche of small companies looking for distribution, and we tapped into that.
Is that what you saw? You saw the opportunity in the distribution model, not necessarily the medical side of things.
Yeah, the manufacturer, not making it, but
distributing it.
Once there's a public database.
Yeah.
We could look right now. We could go to the FDA website and we could reverse sort by date and look at what did the FDA approve on June 30th.
Okay.
We could call them.
Yeah.
We could say, I have a sales force.
Yeah.
We're in 13 states with 15 people, and we call on orthopedic and pain management. And if you don't have a sales strategy in place already, we'd like to talk to you.
Oh, that's identifying an opportunity, man. That's entrepreneurship in its essence.
Yeah.
Truly what that is. It's you saw the opportunity in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All the credit to my business partner on
Yeah.
that strategy, Joe.
Yeah.
He enlightened me on that process, and now it's, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's available to to everybody who's listening to this that might want to get into the medical distribution, right? And has an eye for being a good salesperson and with a team of people.
Yeah. Creating a bunch of competitors right now, man.
That's right. We'll cut that. No, I'm just kidding. So, no, thank you for that, because I think it is important as we get into this, everyone, the audience, the listeners, have a baseline understanding of the business itself. So thank you for that. Let's dive into, this is the part that I'm always very interested in. Your origin story and getting to that moment of entrepreneurship. So many people are on the fence with that. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Everyone's story is different. So tell us a little bit about, let's even go back. Where did you go to school? How did you end up in sales to start off? Was that your first job coming out of college?
No. So I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Went to college in Erie, Mercyhurst. It's now Mercyhurst University, but it was Mercyhurst College at the time. And I studied finance. And why I selected finance, whenever I was a kid, and I wanted to do something new. My parents are very blue collar. When I wanted to do something new that was outside of the realm of understanding for my mom, she said, read a book and let me know what you think, right? This started with a saltwater fish tank, right? I wanted a saltwater fish tank. I thought it was neat. And she said, I don't know anything about that. Read a book. I read 2 books. It was a terrible idea. It like basically melts the drywall behind. So I didn't read that chapter about how to protect your parents' drywall. But in any event, so that was my mom's MO. I really didn't like to read. Yeah. Like whatever the school prescribed you, Grapes of Wrath and Cliff Notes and movies. But when it was something that I wanted to do, Mom says read a book. So I'm a sophomore in high school, and my buddy, his dad's a doctor, right? And he's got a stock portfolio filled with all the fun things. And buddy says, hey, my dad gave me a tip about this company called Apple. So this is 1996.
Oh, wow.
He said, it's a top stock. It's going to do good things. Let's invest in Apple. Mom says, read a book. I must have been slow on the book or not convincing enough. My parents didn't have a broker or an avenue for that. And my buddy and I each had $500. And for whatever reason, I didn't give him my $500 to go and run with it. By the time we were juniors in college, his portfolio was like $65,000. Crazy. So in any event, I read the book about finance, and I thought, this is an amazing path forward, right? And so I went to college, finance major, and then as I'm wrapping up school, I love where I'm from. We're all Western PA guys. Rocco, you and I grew up just a couple miles apart. Didn't know each other, but in any event, what is the path for somebody with a finance degree hit me, right? So I don't have a roadmap in the family, and maybe I didn't do enough of the talking to the internship folks at college. And I'm about to graduate, and it's pretty clear if I want to do that, I better be prepared to move to New York City. That was a no. That was a hard no. And so from there, it was like sell health insurance to your friends and family and get your feet wet in that on that side of the ledger. And I wasn't necessarily interested in selling things to friends and family, or like go work at Citizens Bank as a teller and make $30,000 a year for a long time. And so none of that was appealing. And I'm like, oh man, I just finished college and graduated in 4 years. A lot of my sisters and my parents were like, "Oh, you're going to be a college lifer." I don't know why they pegged me. What pegged me is that I did have a good time in college.
Yeah, we all did.
But I finished in 4 years. In any event, so we're moving out of college, and it was like on campus, off campus type housing where there was like L-shaped buildings and a quad, right? So everybody that lived in that particular quad's friends. And my buddy's brother picks him up from college in this Lincoln Navigator with 24s and a system. Okay. And it was like, Leo, what introduce me to your brother? What does he do? Dan, right? And Dan's like, oh, I'm in sales, inside sales. And I want to learn more. And actually 3 of us from college all like applied for jobs for this company and over in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Actually, you helped inventors make a patent and build a product. So there was like a kind of engineering mixed with patenting. And so that was my first job out of college.
Wow.
Selling invention services.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fast forward a couple of years, it was inside. I had to drive an hour to work. I'm looking to navigate the rest of my life. Now married, we have 2 kids, and I am the type of person that I really want to surround myself. And it's easy to talk about it now, but then I didn't realize. Like I wanted, like, to find in the room who did well. Dan, Leo's brother. I went and talked to him.
Yeah.
Jessica's my wife. Her family, two of her uncles are in the medical device business, and I picked their brain, and they put me on a path. Right, here's some companies to interview for, and as I'm interviewing for those, nobody's familiar with the company that I work for. So I'm looking at the job responsibilities and prerequisites, and I start to see a familiar group of companies: Xerox, Coca-Cola, Cintas. That's where my life changed. Many great mentors in life, but Jeff Hancher, who we all know and love. I interviewed for Cintas, and now I'm working for Jeff Hancher. 3 years at Cintas, learned a lot about outside sales, being a true professional, accountability, responsibility in the field when you're by yourself behind the steering wheel, and then that sprung me into the medical field. All along, I'm looking at this entrepreneurial mindset in the background, and the book reading theme continues. Rich Dad, Poor Dad falls into my lap. For those of you who aren't familiar with that book, it's a real estate themed book, and it changed my life. And so reading that book put my mind towards, okay, I'm going to have a job for the rest of my life, and to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to need to own real estate, flip houses and rent houses, and it's going to be the thing I do from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. That was my adult beginning of entrepreneurial journey, is having a job, and then, in the evenings and weekends, painting walls, learning how to do electric, construction, roofs. We did 6 houses in our 20s. My wife, my wife, and my buddy at the time, and we started with carpet and paint on number 1, and by the last one, we should have just tore it down and built a new. But I'm better off as a house owner now.
Yeah.
Because of it. So that was the beginning of me as an entrepreneur, thinking I need to have a kick-ass job.
Yeah.
To live a life, and then to build wealth, I need to do that through real estate.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody starts that way, I feel like.
Yeah. Right. I know.
Everybody starts that way because it's the common theme out there, right? When it comes to entrepreneurship, they say real estate's the fastest path to build generational wealth. But if you look at it now, a lot of people are doing it through business ownership. I mean, that's really, because real estate's great, but I mean, business ownership, there's a lot bigger of an upside, a lot more risk, but a lot bigger of an upside. So that's interesting that I know a lot of people like you that have just done that, and then they turn into the full-fledged entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. I think I might have had a talk with Jeff, like a negative review at one point during my job with him. And he might have said something like, if you put as much focus on your day job as you did your real estate business, you would have hit your goals.
Yeah.
Very direct. Very direct.
We're going to have to bring Jeff in and confirm what's going on here with this negative review. But so how did that then shift from real estate to the next thing, where how you describe it, kind of more of a side hustle? How did that to start, 1, to materialize away from real estate, but 2, start to grow to the point? Did you ever think it was going to grow past a side hustle?
At the beginning, no. It still in my mind was work for the Fortune 500, work for corporate America, climb the ladder, do great things with a paycheck from somebody else and build side things to do in your evenings and weekends as your hobby. And maybe you'd catch lightning in a bottle, 10X on a triplex or something along those lines, right? Or the side hustle. So Match One's logo, we talked about the words, but the logo. So Joe, my partner, is from Detroit. I'm from Pittsburgh. And so the color theme of it is Steelers, black and gold, and Detroit Lions. I believe it's Honolulu blue and some version of silver. Okay. Anyways, so that's the color scheme, and it looks kind of like the sun rising up over the water. And when we made that logo, we said to each other, maybe someday Match One Medical can pay for us to have that view on a 2-week vacation out of our front porch.
I love that.
Yeah. It's done a lot more than that, I feel like, definitely.
You think? So, I mean, the beginning of it was, my mind is corporate job, side, make a couple of bucks on the side, and maybe it catches into something else. And the passion for opioids, opioid alternatives, at the right time in world history, where we look around the room, everybody knows somebody that suffered or is no longer with us as a result. And another piece of my journey, my parents got divorced when I was 5, and my dad is a lifelong Narcotics Anonymous spokesman. So to be in NA, you had to first, participate in that lifestyle. And so I've been anti all things drugs and medicine my whole life, right? Yeah. And so I found the right thing through, really a tough spot when I had a job in the space with the people who could do something about it. And again, once some of the medical requirements changed and we started to get calls, it was, we need to hire people. Like, we have a real business. We need service. We need to help, patient care. We need people on phones. We need more salespeople. And the whole journey of taking two salesmen with finance degrees to train a whole fleet of salespeople was that's the whole, that part of the journey is the wildest part. We can pop into that here, but that's really what made it. It's our willingness to not just let it be us, but to hire other people.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge with both of you being salesmen and then having this finance background? And now you're stepping into this leadership role, bringing in people, training people, and actually now becoming operators. Like, what was the hardest shift for you to make? Because sales is a different mentality than an operator, right? So there had to be some shifts. What was the biggest challenge, you think?
Mindset shift is the first thing. Whenever you're in a sales capacity, you're on, and you're always if you're good at it, you should always be positive and pleasant and painting a rosy picture about whatever it is to the best of your abilities. And those that are good at sales identify needs versus painting the real picture of features, benefits, advantages. I mean, that's important, but what's the need from the buyer? And so anyways, this positive mindset, in always going and growing, flipping that switch into, salesmen can be cowboys as it comes to getting things done.
Sure. Like
efficiency, making it happen. If not relying on other people, that's a great salesperson. All of those things. And so now, as you grow a business, the first thing you need to do is not have all of the information rattling around up here, but to take my and Joe's tribal knowledge and be able to share it with others. So how to teach people, train people, right? Tell people. Those are 3 different words.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning of the journey, I think, for everybody, and on our mastermind call, everybody who gets started had that first I didn't have the binder.
Yeah.
And then I knew I had to buckle down and get the binder of SOPs, right?
Yeah.
So that you're not just telling people how to do their job, but you're teaching them and or then training them.
Yeah.
That whole shift, because in the sales world, you're telling people, right? Identifying need, putting a solution into a problem. But like teaching and training are not part of that equation, right?
Right.
And so that was and is still the hardest part is how to get better at training, onboarding, and teaching the system or the job that you want those people to have.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That just to go back one little bit is the switch. So was Jeff, or were you still working with Jeff when you decided to take a step back and say, this is growing to the point where we need to hire people? So moving away from Cintas.
I was one job removed from Cintas, so now I'm in the medical medical space. Yeah, so about 4 years after I was with Jeff at Cintas.
Got it. So when that need started to increase, what was that like with, you said at previous, how many children did you have at that time?
So we have 5, and Joe has 4, and we had all of our kids.
Wow.
September, I think his daughter was born. It's maybe in the spring, and then Charlotte was born in August of that year. So August of 2014, and then the business starts in October of 2014. So we had the 9 kids, just barely by that time.
Wow. So what was the amount of stress and the weight of making that jump, sitting down with families and with Joe and his family of, let's try this out. Let's do this. The need is there. The demand is there. Let's see if we can make this work. I mean, that is a heavy burden. What was that like? Talk us through that, because many people are thinking and on that edge right now.
I can only talk about my version of the journey. I'm so fortunate that at some point in my younger adult life, I was introduced to Dave Ramsey, the principles of Dave Ramsey. Yeah. So living as debt-free as possible. My wife and I were already through that at 2014, I'm 34, right? And so we had already been 5 years into this whole thought process of, we don't need to have, highline car. Let's try to pay our house off. I'd rather spend money on a trip than a thing. Now, my kids have things, right? And I hope that they're not spoiled, but they probably are. But in any event, if I wouldn't have been 5 or 6 years into that lifestyle of living in your personal life debt-free, I don't think it's possible. I really don't. And so is that the only way, be debt-free to start a business? I don't think it is, but for me, I can't see a way that I would have been able to risk the paycheck concept with mountains of bills that weren't just food and electricity for 7 people in my house.
Yeah. What was the feedback that you got when the side hustle started to grow and you said, I think we can do this. I think we can make this its own thing full time? What was some of the feedback from family or friends?
So, the first call was to Joe. I'm gonna have to quit my job. While I'm getting a nice paycheck over here, I don't have time for that if we're trying to focus on this, right? So it was a time and value situation, and the company, as I left them, it was sad for them. In that particular role, I really helped them spring a lot of things into the marketplace. They didn't quite comprehend how I had a business that could replace my job with them like how could that have been as well as you were doing that now you can just leave this all go. And just, I don't know if it opened their eyes to maybe it's just how well I was doing. I don't know, but I was not shortchanging them.
Okay.
While doing what it was that we were building. So, in any event, you know, I had full support from, you know, I lean on my mom. You know, my stepdad is, you know, a on and off entrepreneur for life. And when he was off being an entrepreneur, it was whenever he was running his dad's business and he was an entrepreneur, right? So, my mom ran the books for, she was the finance person for my grandpaps and my stepdad and my step-grandpaps businesses. So she's got a really good grasp on all things debits and credits. Yeah. And, you know, I went to her, talked about it, and we had to buy some equipment, Joe and I. There was a need for $35,000 to get started, and my parents lent me the money. And best investment that they ever made. You know, it paid them back in about 2 years, and 40 people now have a job because they believed in me.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's phenomenal.
How's that make you, when you take a step back and think about that? Like you employ 40, like from nothing, you employ 40 people. How's that? Do you ever sit with that and think through that?
So this was a really cool week at work. We had a new salesperson training. So we had 2 people that were brand new on the team. So I spent Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in a room teaching, right? Training and storytelling. Okay. And as we've developed our training over the years, there are different sections that are not my skill set, that customer service, human resources. You know, we have people for all those jobs now, and turning it over, you know, that hour block over to somebody, and then getting through 2 days and looking at, I had a person with 7 years experience in the room, 6 years, 9 years, 8 years, up in front of, you know, we're still just a small company, but realizing that, you know, she's talking about what she's been doing for the last 6 years, and it just seems like she just started with us. Wow. And so, like, I'm really proud of, you know, of that fact. And one of the things that Joe and I really talk about whenever we're interviewing people that are thinking about joining the team, whenever they probably have an offer from one of the big boys, you know, why would you want to join a small, you know, mom and pop organization versus a, you know, publicly traded $1 billion company? And it really boils down to, Joe and I were them. We were salespeople, and we have attempted our darndest, and we've, you know, successes and failures along the way, and we'll probably get into some failures, but I think we've done a pretty good job in making an environment for salespeople to be successful with their job, with their paycheck, right? And, you know, I don't like to tout the dollars, but we've had some people, I think 9 different times over our tenure, we've had a salesperson make multiple 6 figures. That's cool. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. You know, and so I'm very proud of that. Yeah. And it weighs on you though. Yeah, it does. It's heavy.
It definitely, and I don't think that's something I don't think people get about entrepreneurship, the weight of the responsibility you carry as a business owner, right? Because now, you know, you're responsible for these people and their families. And it's on, you know, it's on you and your head and Joe's head to run the company in the right way to make sure they're taken care of. And 40 people is not a small company; that's a big company. So, give yourself some credit. But it is a heavy weight. And I've talked to many business owners over the years. It's hard to describe to people because you can't really articulate what the weight feels like. It's just heavy all the time, like all the time. You don't escape it. It's like that albatross around your neck. You read about it in high school English class. It's just that thing you carry, but I think you just get used to it, and the weight gets lighter, but it's always there. And it's something I always say just to keep in the front of your head. And I think having that weight helps business owners because it informs our decision making. Because now we're looking at it not just from our perspective, it's from the greater good of the team. So I think it's very the fact that you guys have 40 people and you continue to grow is an amazing feat. So that's a true testament to leadership, man. It is.
Thank you. I was with Matt.
Yeah.
We were at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And talking a little bit about why I like working with Matt. And this has everything to do with that heavy conversation. There's some crazy things that happens in every workplace, right? And you think maybe it's just my workplace, and then you talk to other people and you realize there's just things happen, right? Yes. You're dealing with people, and sometimes the crazy things make us need to call our law firm, right? To make sure that we're doing things the right way. And I can rest assured whenever I'm going to call him and that when he's going to talk to me, that it doesn't matter how many flaming balls are being juggled of danger. We both keep it at a pretty even keel when there's danger lurking. And I think that it's really a joy to deal with you guys and that. But on my end, being able to like, all right, I just got some really, really terrible news, right? Not life and death, but business terrible news. Lost a customer, lost a contract with the manufacturer, fee schedules change, regulations change, and somebody's quitting, and really to not light, I don't have hair to light on fire anymore. to use the saying, not
burn
to light
it all
your hair,
off.
Yeah, burn it all off. But to keep just to not react. Yeah. Right. And I think that like I as a parent running our house, I want to be even keel. As a business owner, when crisis hits, I want to be even keel. And it sometimes makes me not celebrate some of the wins as much. But keeping that even keel when crisis hits, I think is how you have people that are with you for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Because they know that like you've got a rudder and we're going in a direction and there will be hiccups.
Yeah. But the point about the win, I just had a conversation this morning because I'm the same way, but as I was talking through it, it hit me like why entrepreneurs are like that. That's our expectation, is to win. So we're not going to celebrate things we expect ourselves to do. And it didn't click to me until literally this morning I was having this discussion as to why. Because I'm like, it's like cool, like I that's great, but like I want to just keep going. And I think it's because if you look at the essence of an entrepreneur, we get into these things because we're risk takers, right? We think we can do it. So our expectation is not to lose. Like we don't start a business thinking we're going to fail. We think we're going to always win. So we don't really celebrate them as much as we probably should because it's just become our expectation. And I think we take the losses harder because we don't expect to lose. But then that's also where I think we learn the most from the losses. At least I know I have over the years. Just the losses teach me so much more. Like the wins are cool. Like I love them, but I don't learn anything from them. I learn more from the losses. And I think that it's literally this discussion this morning I had with the coach I work with. And it was like, wow, like I never really thought about it that way, but it is true. And I think you're wired the same way, it seems like. So eventually we'll celebrate. I said, when I'm old.
I have to catch myself in I believe to be very consistent in work and home. Right. And so I don't think it's just work related, and it's like, I have kids, they're amazing. They're doing great things in their lives and sports and internships in college and, and all of that. And sometimes, it's like, hey, you had a great game, but let's get in the gym tomorrow.
I did the same thing.
And it's like, and that worked for me.
Yeah.
But everybody's their own person.
Yes.
And, and so, I should probably cheer more at the games.
I agree.
Versus analyzing what's going on. I grew up, it's like you have a bunch of mentors that make you the person that you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your circle, we just talked about your circle of 5 at any moment are the people that you become. And, so great, I mentioned mom and dad were divorced, but, I'm blessed with an amazing mother and 2 awesome dads. Yeah. Right. And, fast forwarding from there, high school football coach, legend in Pennsylvania. And I got there on the tail end of all of the success. And so I grew up in it, watching it and aspiring to be it. And I wasn't good at football.
Yeah.
I played baseball in college, and I was good at it from the first day that I showed up.
Yeah.
And but I didn't appreciate it like I appreciated football. Like I was skinny and slow.
Yeah.
And in a district filled with giant people, right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody that was older than you was bigger.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Looking
And then,
back, yes.
like, you're like, the guys that are younger than me are not, right? What happened? Anyways, and so I grew up in this culture of, like, I never actually saw Blackhawk football lose a game until I happened to miss the state championship game. And like from 5th grade till I'm in 10th grade, and we lost a game in 10th grade, like on a buzzer beater, last minute touchdown by Elwood City. And it was like, my world got flipped. That was probably the most flip upside down moment of my life, is being on the team whenever they lost, and I never witnessed it. And it was like, we were invincible, and then we weren't. But anyways, we were great, and I ended up being a great part of it. And Coach Hamilton, you know, it's like we won 35-7, and next day films were going to be, we're going to be hard. It's going to be tough. Like, what's your problem with the 7? And I was okay. Like, I looked forward. He was like, please don't let it be the third play of the third quarter when I got, you know, and sure enough, he'd find it, right?
Yeah.
But it made you so much better. You know, like it made you like, and it created a culture.
Yeah.
He could have left, and I, like, that thing would have, like, a testament to him. And what I hope to try to create in my family and in my organization is that if I blipped and I was gone, would it continue without me? Or is it that way because, and I don't think it is at this point, both family and business, that when I take a week vacation, I want to try to disconnect as best I can. But if I'm not there, and again, if Coach Hamilton wasn't there, it would have self-sustained for some period of time, because the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and the common work ethic for striving for success. And from a company standpoint, I think that's the thing that I like the most about the team that I have assembled right now, is that I can go on vacation for anybody, and I encourage everybody to. And some people, like, just can't, like, they're worse than me about it. And but, like, going away for a week, and the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and not everything's going to be perfect, and that's okay. But, like, to unplug for a minute, like, so that when the boss isn't around. And if they're listening, and maybe they're laughing behind my back right now, like, he doesn't know. But no, it's a bunch of good people, and I think I've created a culture of excellence.
Yeah, that's what truly it's about. And you came up playing in a culture of winners, and that's really what it is. And I think the most successful entrepreneurs try and do that. And it's you take the good and the bad, and you have some knocks every once in a while. But I think creating a culture of excellence, like I think you said it perfectly, a culture of excellence. It's not about perfection. I always say it's about excellence. It's about, are you improving every day? That's it. That's all you can ask for people, because everybody's at different levels. You take people at their level, and it's all I look for as an owner is, are they improving?
How do you deal with chasing excellence, being identified by others as you're a perfectionist?
That's a hard one. I mean, that is. I mean, because people have said that to me, but I don't think I'm a perfectionist. It's just I always say I'm blissfully dissatisfied. Like I feel truly blessed to be where I am, and to come from where I came from, to land where I am now, but I'll never be content, because if I become content, I slow down, and I like the speed of things too much. Like I always say, you get one life. Like, I get one shot at this. Like, I could be gone tomorrow. I don't want to leave anything on the field. You know, I have 3 kids that are watching what I do, and I think if I can instill in them a work ethic and, you know, a belief in themselves, and a belief that, like I tell my kids, like, I created this out of thin air. Like, no one in my family was lawyers. No one went to college. It's just, I decided to start a law firm one day, and it's out of thin air. It's like, now there's, 10 of us here, and it's I struggled with it more years ago. I think as I've gotten older, I just said, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Like, you don't have to like me. That's just, but I'm not going to slow down to make someone else feel good about themselves. Like, cause that's what people want you to do. I think when you have, cause I've had friends that I've lost touch with over the years, just because the pace of my life has picked up and what I'm doing is so much faster. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, this is me. If you don't like it, I'm not going to slow down to make you feel better about yourself, because we all make choices. That's truly, we get to make the choices we want in the life we want to live. And I truly believe that we get one shot, and I'm not going to leave anything on the field. That's really how I look at it.
That's great. Kids come home from school. What'd you learn today? We're, various age of kids between us all here. And, whenever you ask the question on your time, you're going to get the nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
I have a 12-year-old daughter. I get that all the time.
Whenever it comes to the point, like whenever I asked the question on my time versus waiting for them to, when it's their time, then they have interesting things to talk about, and they didn't learn nothing.
Yeah.
But talking about, like, you're so lucky that you got to learn something new today.
Yeah.
And they roll their eyes, but it's like, what a thrill to be around smarter people.
Yeah.
And IQ. Not IQ smarter, but people that know more things about a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To learn, right? Dealing in a conversation with you guys about the law, I'm going to learn a lot, and that's exciting. Sat across from a guy, I was in a waiting room, who was a retired engineer from PPG, and I learned about he had a patent on fiberglass and saved the Corvette, and I'm like trying to keep up with his. Like the manufacturing terminology and like the science of creating fiberglass out of chemicals. And I didn't understand it, but I was tracking.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was like meeting that guy, I was in a waiting room, and it helped me pass the time. I got to learn something about patents and engineering.
Remain a lifetime student. That's what I always say. Like, I love learning, and I think that if you want to be, if people listening, if you want to be successful in life, just pick up a book, and there should not be a day that goes by where you're not trying to learn something new. I mean,
that's taken straight from Mother Jannuzi right there. Pick up a book.
I mean, that's a good point. I didn't even think unintended pun, but yeah, absolutely. It's truly that is it. Because I mean, that's how you learn. It's what do they say? Who you are in 5 years is going to be who you spend your time with and what you read. Like, that's really it. And I look at how life progresses, as we change as people and business owners and professionals, that every big shift in life is a reflection of the people I was hanging around with and the books I was reading. And then you look at when you make those big, tectonic shifts, it's like, holy shit, like I was reading a lot about this at the time, and I was around people that were doing bigger things. And it's one of the truest statements out there. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. The people that you're, that you're in that close circle with at that phase of your life. And if you're lucky to have people that were with you then, that are with you now, that have rode the waves and happen to be at the same place in life with kids and work.
Right.
It doesn't always work out that way, that everybody that was, that you rode pedal bikes with. But it's really interesting. Our, my group of friends that are, I've got a lot. I know I live where I grew up. Yeah. Right. So I know a lot of people, and I don't want to use that word loosely, but my core group of guys that I lean on the most, these guys aren't like, it's not one big circle. It's different people from different points of my life, that are still there. And interesting, of the group of the five total, four of us over the last year have lost 40 to 70 pounds. That's awesome. None of us talked about doing and one was, and again, it's not one circle of people. Yeah. It's just like, that's the phase that we all went through. Yeah. And, like the health and wellness, journey, along with paying attention to the election and hearing about, Robert Kennedy Jr. And like that stuff, like we're all parents. Yeah. So like being healthy, it's like a really important thing to pass off on the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Definitely.
As we continue forward, and I know we're running up against the time here, but I do want to touch on when you made the switch and jumped in at age 34. That's young. That's young to start a company. You had your business partner, 9 children amongst the two of you. I mean, that's a young age to make the jump. What were some of those I mean, I'm sure it included sleepless nights. I mean, crying kids aside, but business related sleepless nights. What were some of those biggest challenges thinking back that you were running into? Was there many? Was there some that you can think of right off the top of your head? What did that look like?
Yeah. The growth strategy changed from, okay, it's going to be two salesmen and a service company, to the expansion of the sales force, and then the second, version 1 and version 2. So version 1 of expansion of the sales force, we're contracting with independent reps or reps that also wanted to have a little side hustle. They have a day job, and they were going to give us an hour or 10 a week, right? Mm-hmm. Spend a little bit or a lot of time, and they weren't salaried. They were, if we sold something, we would all win together, and if you didn't, you didn't. We'll give you the equipment to run with it. And that phase of our journey, and we disagree on it as we look back on it. That was the most frustrating and stressful phase for me. It was, I don't want to say cheap labor, right? But there was only an expense if there was a win. Right. And that's attractive to Joe, right? There was only an expense if there's a win. And, but at what cost, right? Of our time, our reputation. Are they accurately reflecting what it is that we're trying to build in our business card and our logo, or are they, are they properly trained and educated, or are they just dealing with a couple doctors that were their friends? And so then there's a looser sales process, and maybe there's just some of the critical, but not life and death critical, but critical things about the process that just weren't there. And to me, that was really stressful. It also didn't have like a true expansion plan other than just keep doing that same thing over and over and over again. And then it's Joe and I in a flat org chart with we had about 10 independent contractors, and he was hopeful for hundreds, right? Thousands. And, in my mind, that wasn't the way. Right. And so volume 2 or version 2 of the sales growth came with hiring employees, right? That get a salary on the first day. And what if they don't work out, right? So he and I are very opposite sides of the coin. We both wanted more salespeople and more sales. And to this day, he still likes that path, and I like the employed path, because then you get their commitment, their full investment. And yes, hiring people is hard, and some, what's the Jeff Hancherism? If you're 100% right all the time, you're really only 60% right. So if your process to bring somebody on board isn't perfect, you're worse than 60% retention at year one. Mm-hmm. And so we've hired a lot of people that didn't work out. They went through an interview process, and we think we're good at it. It has multiple steps, and we're using a recruiter. But that internal conflict between the two of us on what is the path forward for us for growth and expansion, that whole dynamic. And here we are all these years later. We did hire our first sales team or sales group in 2018. We hired 3 people, and 2 of them are still with us.
That's great. That's great.
That's awesome.
I mean, with everything that you've done, the company doing your part fighting the opioid crisis or epidemic is extremely admirable. Obviously, Joe, hopefully you're listening. Huge shout out to you as well. Thank you for being a part of this podcast.
Yeah,
What we'll leave with this, I've said it multiple times now, with many potential entrepreneurs on the fence. As you look back, what would be something that you would tell them? To do it, not to do it, to jump, not to jump, what to think about? Maybe it is just go read a book. What are your thoughts?
Surround yourself or search out for people who have done it already. Those people are more than happy to share their secrets with you, is what I've learned. Have a library of books on the subject. You can't afford to hire experts at the beginning, and absolutely take the leap. You may swing and miss, but you won't have the regret all those years later while you're still at the 9-to-5 job. So I would absolutely say make sure you're mentally and financially in the right place to do it, and be a student, be prepared for long hours, but be prepared for ultimate satisfaction of being in charge of your own life path and helping many people along the way who otherwise wouldn't have jobs or would have to be working somewhere else.
That's so true.
That's great.
That's so true, man. That's great advice. Truly it is.
Well, thank you very much, Chaz.
Yes.
For all of you out there, please follow Chaz, I believe, on the social media accounts, Match One Medical.
Yes.
Your personal account, I don't know if you want to share that or not.
Chaz Jannuzi at LinkedIn, so Jannuzi. Instagram, ChazJ21, I think is my Instagram. And you'll see a lot of pictures of my kids. That's about it. But thank you so much for having me. What an awesome opportunity to just talk about being a business owner, right? And that journey. I'd love to do it again.
Absolutely,
man. And follow up on a few other subjects and see how this podcast grows and develops, and do a Peerless again sometime.
Yeah,
Peerless,
drink some more.
We're looking at you.
Yes.
First sponsor.
Sponsorship, please. Unofficial.
And of course, the audience out there, the listeners, please subscribe, like, comment, all the stuff that you need to do for the Barrels and Bylaws podcast. As always, come for the drinks, stay for the stories, and we will catch you next time. Thank you.